Welcome back to the Breakdown. Again, we're sponsored by TalkSport Bet. They're offering listeners of the Breakdown and viewers of the Breakdown £10 in football bets, you get £40 in free bets. That's right, £10 you put on, you get £40 in free bets. Just head over to talksportbet.com/breakdown. And not just that, they've got massive super boosts, daily price boosts, and best odds guaranteed on the horses as well. So don't miss out. Go to talksportbet.com/the-breakdown. 18 plus, T&Cs apply.
Are we off?
We're off, mate.
Welcome back. We're joined by Steven Whittaker, Scotland legend, Rangers legend. How are you, mate?
Very well, thanks. Thanks for having me on.
Current Stirling Albion manager.
New gaffer.
New gaffer. Tommy, your assistant.
First.
No asking him.
He's too busy.
He looked at us pair, mate, and thought, nah, I need to
Trying to get a job out there, mate.
use our podcasters now.
Aye. How'd that come about?
Just they approached me. Obviously, me and Scott lost our job at Ayr towards the end of the season, so just been enjoying some time with the family. Just got approached about 2 weeks ago. Done a lot of thinking, know where I want to go in my career, and felt like the time was right to jump in. So I think it's a good opportunity for me to have a good impact at the club. They struggled last year, so I want to try and turn that around and take them into the top half of that table and challenging towards the top.
Nice. How's a Stirling Albion team? How's a Whittaker team going to look?
Both athletic,
Fit, flexible,
German.
full of gymnasts.
That'd be good.
We used to call him the big German. He was just like that, big just like Arnie Schwarzenegger, wasn't he?
You are the most flexible player I've
Flexible
seen.
guy in the world, mate.
I did get into some strange positions on the pitch.
He probably played more positions. Only player to play more positions than me, isn't he? Played left
we were a
back,
bit
right
similar,
back, centre mid. You played left wing.
Left wing for Rangers, aye. It's European games, eh?
I remember your goal in the Europa League run you had.
Lisbon.
Unbelievable. The one you threw.
Should have passed to me.
That's the only time Thomas got me on there.
That was the only time I was in the box, mate. I still couldn't keep up with him.
You and Daniel Kuzan.
Is that who it was?
I probably
Big
would
Dan?
have passed to Daniel Kuzan.
Aye, no passing to me, mate.
How long were you at Rangers?
5 year. 5 year.
Did you like it?
Loved it. Just a great success. The team that we had was brilliant. Walter was great with me. Just brought me on as a player, and we thrived. Like I think, we won the CIS. Well, Tom left in the January, but we went on to win the CIS and got a feel for that little win in the trophy. But the mentality to go there and continue to do that at Rangers, under Walter, just learning that side of it was top, and just loved every second there.
What was the difference? What was the difference between like young Hibs group to them playing for Rangers?
It's the constant of doing it every day, every game, having to just perform. You got away with sloppy performances, if you like. When you're younger, coming through at Hibs, we would go and challenge Old Firm in a 90 minutes, but we could quite easily go up
Inconsistency
somewhere and get beat 2 and 3-0 away from home. So it was finding that mentality side of it, and Walter was a big part of setting your mind ready to go. And it was like there was no rest. You were in it every day, every training session. I had a good attitude anyway, but it was just that constant, even during the week, attacking your work, being constant in that brings you into your performance at the weekend. And
How would Walter do that? Have you got any stories or any detail on how he would keep you on that?
I think his man management was second to none.
He had an unbelievable edge, mate. Like
You've seen that before.
Aye, presence on it was incredible. Like it's funny because I always think he Wits is like when I think of a Coisty, like that good buffer between. He was meticulous in doing stuff like that, mate. Like see Coisty having the banter, Kenny McDowell really meticulous in coming with planning and that. Then Walter he never done much, did he? As in, I'm saying never done much as in the greatest compliment. It wasn't like he was on the pitch putting cones out and loads of tactical stuff, loads of meetings. It was no old school as such. It was just normal back then.
Yeah. We'd be doing a session or doing a warm up or a bit of possession at the start of the drill, and Walter would just be walking across the field, and as soon as he approached the tempo, would just be right, we're at it. That you weren't, but just his presence just lifts everything.
The wee 1%, he would get them out you, which was important.
It's mad how some managers are like that, and Martin O'Neill's like that obviously as well. I don't know what it is with them. Just a presence. You can hear a pin drop. I remember when Martin used to walk in characters like Sutton, Lennon, Hearts and Larson, like quiet.
You knew they were there,
They just the approach. And what have you took from them going into your
Now,
management?
what bits will you steal?
I think it's just to make your players feel, like they're the best players. You have to have that energy of like, again, my gig is on the pitch. Like I'm a coach, so like that's the bit that I think will come natural to me. Is like get the team going, and then I just want to make the players feel loved. I want them to go out there and feel that they can go and do the job. But that comes togetherness. I'll have players in there that I'll lean on that have to be my leaders within it. Because again, we had the group of players and the mentality to do that, so it almost becomes easier for the manager. But it's trying to create that from above. So that's my job, leading into the pre-season through into the first League Cup games.
How do you make them feel that, you're saying make them feel your love? What is it you do with that? Will you try and be close to them? How will you get the balance of, that boundary between the management and the players?
Yeah, it's standards. It's standards. Had them as a player, had them as a coach working with Scott. So it's just bringing that, setting standards, making sure that everyone's accountable, and then just interacting with them, making sure you know them as people. I mean, they're part-time, so they're going to have jobs, they're going to have partners, families. So
it's tough, that, won't it?
Of course.
That's a bit that a lot of people miss, isn't it? We were speaking on the way through in the car, and we were saying that obviously Wits at Airy had Graham Maffey, obviously as sporting director. He is sporting director, isn't he? So like negotiating with the players and haggling over the £50, £100, whatever it may be. But when you become a League 2 manager, stroke League 1 manager, that obviously we've been, you then start to have to negotiate with the players, don't you? And you're trying to manipulate your budget and like a lot of bits that people will only realise it can be a challenge.
Yeah.
And when you go for doing like that role, and that will be interesting to see how full confidence that obviously you're going to be able to do that 100%. But it's a hard thing to negotiate with a player that's wanting an extra 25 quid a week.
Yeah.
There's maybe a Tyler during the day or a joiner or whatever, and then you're like, it leaves sometimes like that. I felt a bit of animosity sometimes when players were haggling over like a tenner a week. Rightly so, because I've been there myself as a player, but I'm like, do you really want to play for my team?
Aye, and the challenge you've got is some junior teams are paying them all more money.
It's
tough. You're trying to get them to play part-time and play for you because they're at that level, and then no chase the money at.
We mentioned some players on the way through in the car, and the first thing Witt said, and it's like, I know it's the same at every level, but obviously the higher you get up, there's a different pool of players. You've got different, obviously, exposure, you've got different resources to try and like your recruitment side of it. But when you end up in the position that Witt's ended up in, a bit similar like when I was at Kelty, you're actually fighting for the same players off of everybody else that's got similar money, so you're trying to sell the dream as such, you're trying to sell yourself as a coach, which, listen, you'll be brilliant at, but that'll be a wee challenge, won't it?
They just have to be engaged. I know like they'll have other things around the football because it's part-time, but we'll train twice a week and there's a game on a Saturday, so ultimately when we're in it, and they have to be engaged and work hard. That's all you're asking. You'll have your other problems round about it in life, but when we're in and we're training, we're setting our standards and we're working hard, and that'll hopefully fall into the pitch.
Will you be traditional, Wits? Will you just train Tuesday, Thursday?
Yeah, I think I'll keep that the same. I think it's boys are used to it part-time. That's fine. I can adapt my sessions round about.
You mentioned somebody that's going to be coming in to help you.
Yeah, so I spoke to Josh Millen at Wraith Robbers, was coming out of full-time football. We're looking to drop into part-time football, so I made contact with Louis Stevenson.
Did you have him before, Josh?
No, worked with Josh. So it was through Louis Stevenson. Got in touch with Louis because I knew he was out of contract, but he's had a good season at Wraith and
signed another year,
so delighted for him. But he just put me in contact with a couple of the Wraith boys that, were taking that step out of full-time, going into part-time. So I spoke to a couple, and Josh was really keen, showed great enthusiasm to want to be that player coach role for me. And through a couple of chats on the phone, it was just natural. Met up with him a couple of times since, and he's shown, like I say, real enthusiasm to want to work with me first and foremost. But it's going to just fit his life at the right time, so it's just one that's fell right for me, and I'm delighted to get that over the line.
Good, mate. Did you watch the game yesterday?
Obviously, I was commentating on it.
Oh yeah, talk to me. I was about to start the podcast with "Simply the Best" playing.
Oh, what are you
like that song?
It's the happiest I've seen you.
Oh, really?
It's the happiest I've seen you, mate.
Paul came in this morning.
30 episodes in, and you're the happiest I've seen you.
It was enjoyable. I watched it in Glen Eagles because I was up there for the weekend, and
shite life, eh?
I sat. It's I was in the apartments at the brilliant.
Oh, tell you know where I was?
Where?
I was in the Brimlin in a studio with a coffee in front of me, sitting behind a screen, doing Rangers TV.
Is that with the guy Tam?
Nah, it was Wig and another guy that they started to use. Boy called Callum. Good. Listen, I love Tam. Tam's.
No, that's the only thing I know about Rangers TV is I've heard that commentary. What's the goalie doing, Tam? Is that him?
Is
that the same guy?
He wasn't on, but Tom Muller's the traditional commentator. But it's hard because you didn't do it at the game, and it's not making excuses for how you commentate on it by any stretch of imagination. But it's the best way to describe it is like your kids playing the PlayStation and you're watching it and you're commentating on it.
It'll be the most one-sided commentary I've ever.
Listen, you know better than anyone that I'm very neutral and I try and be complimentary. I actually got a bit of stick on social media to say that I was too complimentary to Celtic, but I'm a wee bit like when Maeda scores that goal, it's humbly you have to show a bit of class and talk it up when you talk it up. It's just the way I am. I'm no change for anyone.
Unbelievable goal.
What did they want you to do? It was crap.
Well, I'm not being disrespectful, but like I would always be respectful of the players. But you can't if they get beat. They lost 3 games in the bounce now with like pretty much 5 cup finals. So I found it hard to be. I was at Tynecastle, obviously. I watched the Motherwell game, and then obviously I commentated on the game yesterday. So
what's going on with them?
You can't seem to do it for 90 minutes. Because I think they look really good at times.
What's going on? Even the first, there at half time.
First half at Tynecastle, I thought they were really competitive.
I thought they looked really good.
At Parkhead, but it's just the longevity of the 90 minutes that's come out the second half, and they didn't seem to be able to put the same kind of plan in place.
How important is that team talk at half time, do you think?
I don't know, that's twice that they've obviously been well in the game, winning at Tynecastle, tying the game, going into the second half with everything to play for, knowing that you have to win it to stay on the chase, and it's just, it seems to be something amiss there. I don't know whether the plan changes or whether they try to do the same thing. There's always going to be a reaction, especially when you're 1-0 down at Tynecastle for the opposition. So it's maybe just trying to handle the moments a little bit better.
Do you think that's a personality thing? Or just a talent thing?
I think it's a talented team. I think the goals that are scored in the game are really good for both teams. I think the talent, I don't think, is in question. So whether it is the mentality to do it all the time, to do it.
Always talk about that mentality. It's a hard to
I don't think personally, when I look, I know, and I think from my point of view, when I look at Rangers, I don't think there's enough players, and I know there's all this, come on, play for the badge and all that. That's not what I'm saying, but I don't think there's enough Scottish core in the Rangers team. You know, the Baron obviously played yesterday, right? But it's early days for him and his Rangers stint.
He's not played much.
And he's not played much. I just think there's not enough in the changing room at all. I just think you go through the squad and you think Fernandes will jump when he gets a chance, which is fine. But
what you mean move?
He'll move. Jigger. I don't know if there's enough commitment to Rangers to everybody's like, I don't know. I just get that feeling. I don't know the squad. I just look at it when you look at Celtic. They've got Callum McGregor, they've got Forrest in there still. They've got Kieran Tierney at left back. Tierney was brilliant yesterday. The fight he's shown. You know, they've got Scales there. There's a core of players that you can tell the staff behind the scenes. It just everything just for me.
No, I didn't disagree. See, when you watch this Rangers team, what would you, without being too complicated on tactics, but like I've watched them now since Danny Rowe came in, and obviously you'll have watched a wee bit under Russell Martin, who was, the way he wanted to play was really evident with the fullbacks coming in. They flirted a wee bit with it, but it was, I think Russell had a real obvious way wanting to play from back to middle to front. When I watch Danny Rowe's team, I struggle at times to specifically pick a tactical bit. See, when you watch this Rangers team, how would you describe how would you think they look like direct? Do they look off the cuff? I always find it quite hard to say, like pinpoint one specific thing that they like without going on a tactics board. Just like if there was an obvious thing that you like would maybe catch your eye, what you think they're good at and maybe not so good at.
I think in the game going there, they've obviously Ant-Man and Mikey Moore with that bit of kind of directness and speed on the sides, which I think probably worked in the first half. I think they caught them a couple of times in the counter, and Celtic started really fast, but then they got a couple of breakaways and it looked really dangerous.
It was kind of more for the pressing, wasn't it? They pressed quite well for the front.
Well, one of the stats popped up at half time was the duels. Didn't quote me exactly what it was, but it was like 32 to maybe even 34 to like 22-24, i.e. in favour of Rangers. So a lot of the obviously the goal comes through.
Yeah.
Fernandes stealing it off Luke McKibben, do you know what I mean? Like, and by the way, in this area as well, do you know what I mean? So really aggressive without the ball. But I said last week, didn't I? Obviously, I would have picked Gassama with having that speeder and Antman, but Antman's obviously played less. But Mikey Moore's, listen, he's the talisman. He's been absolutely a breath of fresh air. He's been brilliant. But I still feel as though, like, so then they're really aggressive pressing and they get a lot of joy out of it and they play in the counter attack. Yet that then goes missing in the second half, doesn't it?
That's what I mean.
They stop doing what they're good at.
And I don't. That's been the case. Again, you used the words. It was 3 cup finals, so you've got that 90 minutes to go and win the game. And I don't know if it's when they're ahead, especially at Tynecastle, I'm referring to as, does that change the mentality going into the second half? And they don't quite know how to deal it. We're ahead. We didn't really need to go on that kind of high pressure, so we can sit a little bit. Yeah. That invites a bit of pressure, a bit of momentum for the other team, and they've struggled to switch that back in their favour. Towards the end of the game, obviously, when they go behind, you get a wee bit of kind of balls in the box and you gain a bit of territory with it. It just becomes a bit desperate at that point in the game, do you know what I mean? But I see, like, their midfielders rotate a lot and they'll drop it into like little areas, and then so in the build I think they've got an idea to get there. I think they played a nice couple of like plays through the middle and they got it into Mikey Moore especially. He was the most effective one down that side. And Chermiti initially gave Trusty quite a hard time as well.
When it went longer, I thought they caused the Celtic backline a bit of problems and it become a bit direct. I think a big switchy play to Tav and space in the wider areas, but it's like I didn't think that's how Rangers set up to play. I just think it was a bit off the cuff. Because then if you pick that style of play, then it would. I feel as though it would be more evident more regularly. If that makes sense.
For me, in the first half, they pressed really well. Man for man, the goal comes for a man press stuck in the left hand side. They win it and they go and score. Again, second half, they naturally, it's the same like at Hearts, they kind of go back the way. It's if it's a natural instinct to sort of
to protect what they've
got. And I don't think, personally, I think if you're playing a lot of my career at centre back and understanding the mentality of being a centre back and having to defend your box or defend a half, I don't think Jigger and Fernandes sense danger for centre halves. I keep saying it. There's a lot of goals conceded. I don't think they want to look good and have the ball and have a wee bit of swagger, which is fine, but I don't think they're actually out and out great defenders. I think they get caught, like, even Fernandes, the ball over the top for there's not enough good defenders in Rangers backline. Romans is the best defender for me, right? And even that, is he a brilliant 1v1 defender?
So I think he could be tops me, but he's
the ball goes over the top for that, and Tavernier's holding his hand up for an offside, right? Fine, we've all been there. Then the second mistake is Fernandes in the box with Maeda and lets him nick across him. Yeah. That needs to be stronger. You know, that's big moments in the game where you need to defend. I don't think Rangers have got that defensive instinct, although Fernandes gets this big name of being a great defender and brilliant, and he looks good in the eye at times the way he's composed with the ball, and even 1v1 with Maeda, he's got the ball and he's checking, drop my shoulder, and it looks nice, but you'll be judging defending your box. I go back to like the best defenders that I love watching, Chiellini, Bonucci. These guys don't look brilliant in the eye. They're not the quickest.
Italians were always the best at it, weren't they?
But see the way they defend and they block shots and they do the, like, Bonucci, nobody would get in front of him there. I know we're comparing top level defenders, but what I'm saying is that wee bit of instinct.
That's what you're saying, like, as a profile, as a defender, like Fernandes, Jigger, unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like, fast, strong, decent enough in there if it's on their head, but it's like you're saying, it's that reading of the game and that sensing of the danger of, well, when that ball gets to the byline, it's getting cut. He's like, where's your striker? Are you in front of him? Are you seeing the movement? And before you know it, it's too late. So it's definitely the intelligence side of it and the sensing of the danger.
Who's that
voice?
voice?
What they're missing.
Who's that voice in that back line?
There's another one.
Who's that leader?
I bet there's not a word getting said in that back line.
I said we were lucky because we played with like somebody that didn't give you a second's piece speaking in Big Davy Vieira.
Well, there's your perfect example, right? He's no quick. He's no anywhere the profile you would say of them, as in physical attributes. But he would sniff danger. He would be there. You know.
I used to go home after every game that I played for Rangers. Pretty much was way Big Davy behind you, and it was like right shoulder, left shoulder. Here he comes, get tight, drop in behind you. Tom. It was like, and obviously there was a lot of times that you maybe seen it yourself, but it was like a reiteration of just here he comes. It was like and I look at like Tav, like maybe not being the most vocal. I actually think Jack Butland brings a wee bit of animosity at times when he puts on his left peg and kicks it, and I do think Jack Butland's a brilliant goalkeeper, but I don't know, he's just he's no Alan McGregor. And then you think he Griggsy, you could go on and find a million videos of Griggsy barking at his back line and shouting at them and squeezing them up and getting after them. And obviously it used to be a laughing joke between us that if Griggsy wasn't shouting, he would be. It wouldn't be normal because he gave Sasha Pavic so he just constantly barking.
But that would be in every.
It's normal, isn't it?
Every small sided game you do in training.
No, no.
That was just natural for everyone to be like at each other. If standards wasn't there within a training session, like it just leads into the game.
And that's bang on with Rangers. I don't think there's enough in that team. You look at McGregor going about, and Barron's a good player, but I don't imagine he's a leader. I don't know.
I think he's a leader the way he plays, wee Connor, because he's tenacious in that. But I know what you mean. That like wee Connor
and
playing
he might go into
alongside.
it's early days for him.
Like Connor playing alongside. Like I think if if Fernandez or Jigger played with Davy Weir or Carlos Cuellar, I think they would be brilliant. And I think that would then help someone like a Tav as well. I think it would help Romans. I think it would help Magoma when he's been playing. Do you know what I mean? A younger profile left back. I think a Conor Barron would be in the same mode if you picked up Barry Ferguson and threw him in the middle of the pitch there, and he played alongside Conor Barron. I think they would be. You know what I mean? They make him better.
If you put Davy Weir, Barry Ferguson in that team, right away, Tavernier starts to look better. Barron starts to look better. Jigger starts to look better, or Fernandez starts to look better. Somebody's talking, moving people.
Do you not think that happened for us? I think that was like a big factor in why it helped us. You know what I mean? And that goes back to what you've just said earlier in the show. That spine, and I'm not so sure it has to be British. It just has to be the right profile of people that bring that to the party.
And 9 times out of 10 it is a British core and a Scottish core. I think they bring that because naturally we're quite intense and sort of we're not naturally a quick nation, are we? So we need to use I know for a fact I had to use my voice and I had to be in the right position. Otherwise, if I tried to play like Fernandez and Jigger, I'd have been exposed. I'd have been all over the place because I would have been chasing people. Fucking arse tied together.
I'd love to see you play against Maeda.
Oh mate, I'd have been 15 yards by half him. I'd be shouting, Bruni, shut your right, man on.
Running the channels.
I hated to play him, but I chopped the life out of him. I'd have just took it in my left kid when we got the line. He'd have just dived in. I'd just come inside him.
I actually think that though, because he plays off the left, and I would have been right back against him if I would play. And I always think like, how would that battle?
How would you have dealt with him? What would you be if you were going into that game tomorrow and you were playing right back and Maeda? I know he obviously played a wee bit more central, but if he was playing on the left for Celtic against you 1v1,
defend the space in behind a little bit. You've got to be wary.
And how would you defend that? Would you at times lock on and go like two coats of paint tight
back
and give him
goal,
a bit?
I think you go back. Anytime you get him back to go, you go tight. That's no strength.
And what about when because he's probably no one that wants to come and get a touch. I think he wants to come to then spin to then go in behind. So you obviously distances need to be good, don't you?
I'm protecting that space in behind. He was a centre half.
100%. He probably doesn't hurt you as much if he goes and gets it to feet. Does he?
Even like
when he gets wrong side.
In possession though, you're straight away. I'm thinking he's going to be round about my. So I'm taking 1-2 touch and I'm moving the ball. And then I'm going to try and run without the ball and take him back the pitch if I can. Do you know what I mean? So I'm no dilly-dallying on it because he can turn over the ball.
He's the worst ever to dilly-dally on, isn't he?
He's a brilliant counter-presser, isn't he?
He's
even
amazing.
Though he commits 5 million fouls every game written off.
There's not many better in the world at counter-press, is he?
You just avoided that.
What'd you say?
I'm saying he committed 5 million fouls and never gets a yellow card.
Never made one foul.
What are you saying about the referee? No, that's not a Rangers perspective question. Right,
let's go.
Let's go as simple
one by one here. First of all, let's give credit to Celtic because we've just.
But we'll talk about Celtic because I think it's important to talk about like how wonderful goals are and they found themselves right in the mix now to go and win a title.
Going down 1-0 as well and then coming back. But the first goal for Celtic, what do you think it?
Offside or no offside?
Aye.
Well, initially I thought it was a brilliant pass. Chukwani gets caught, Dante and Engels just got blindside. He makes a clever
a bit of a hole there, wasn't it? He was having a bit of a nightmare.
Through the legs, sees it run, he finds a real
top end pass.
It's top draw, right? And then it's a great cut back. And I actually thought Yang, I never realised how good he was. He's a twister and a turner, isn't he? And he's like, he can handle the ball. He's now affecting the game in big moments. But that's doing a disservice. I knew he was a good player, but like actual watching him proper live.
I'll be honest, I agree with you, Tom. I wasn't a huge fan of him. I think he lacks that wee bit of quality. But yesterday I thought, see, it's the same as Engels. People say.
Well, I said last week, didn't I? That I thought Engels was tops. And
you
I've seen a few comments, people saying, "Thank God somebody's actually said Engels was top." They want a pat in the back for it because I hope he was rubbish yesterday. But
I think we agree though. You're tops if you affect a game, and he did yesterday. It was a great run and a great pass, and you go right. Okay, well now you're affecting a game.
I think he'll go for big money, me, Engels. Which is off topic, I know, because we're talking about
He needs to do it more though, doesn't he?
I know, but I just think he's like, me and Wits were talking even like for Stirling, really like talking about some young players that we know, and you're like, you started, the natural thing in the game nowadays is you start to talk about profile, and obviously like then you've got like all, like I know at the top end you've got all these, which Engels obviously is, you've got the data that then surrounds that, what it looks like a Jamestown or whatever. Like, I cannot see how Engels will no tick like loads of boxes when it comes to...
And that's alright with ticking boxes, but for me, brilliant, but where's your assists?
I know.
And where's your goals? It's the same as Fernandes and Jigger, if you want to say Fernandes is worth 30 million, right? Okay, where's your clean sheets?
Nah,
where's your head? And I know there's more than...
I think you're just looking at that as a perspective for Celtic and Rangers though, like in Scotland, I think, like, and that's not like disagreeing with you because I totally agree, sorry. It's like Shermitty, like Dave obviously loves big Shermitty, but then a Rangers fan would say, oh, what about his goal return? And there's more to Shermitty than just them putting the ball in the back of the net, but somebody might then just say, well, no. The fundamental for your number 9 is your numbers, scoring goals. I would say Engels for me, like, athletically, he's like a McTominay for me. Do you know what I mean? Different player, but like he's that type of profile, really athletic, right good size. His delivery for set plays is incredible.
I think he's world class with delivery.
And I just feel as though like technically in a different league to Scotland, because it's in that midfield battle, especially in an Old Firm game, or even playing for Celtic just generically week to week, because normally it can be a bit of a fight in the middle of the pitch. Opposition playing extra player in midfield. I think Engels could. I'll be surprised if in 3 years' time he's not playing at like an elite level and somewhere in Europe.
Totally agree with you, right? And let's go back to his set pieces. I think he's world class at set pieces, but he doesn't do it often enough. So some games he'll hit the first man every corner, and you're thinking, you've got the ability to be unbelievable at set pieces, but you need to do it. It's the same as everything else. Your passing's amazing. Well, let's see it. Your assists can be good. Let's see them.
I get it.
He'd done it yesterday, so he deserves credit, and he needs to continue like that.
The first half yesterday, and somebody will probably quote me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure I seen it that Rangers had 3 corners in the first half and Celtic had none. So then he's not getting the opportunity to show how good his delivery is, if that makes sense. But obviously in a normal game Celtic would probably have double figure corners, so he will get loads of opportunities to have that. So I know that it's just an isolated game yesterday, but I thought his run blindsided Chukwani, then having the quality to pick somebody out was
that's the difference in it.
Is why he's a good player.
But do you think it's a goal, or do you think it's not a goal?
I thought, again, I need to look it back. I've not seen it for all the angles, but when the shot comes in for Yang, I feel like the line that Butland's on, he can see the ball. I think the pass, it goes past, I don't know who it is, the player that's offside, but there is a point where he doesn't see it, but I think when the shot then comes, I need to check, but I think he can see the ball. I don't know if it affects him that much. I don't think he saves the shot anyway, but
it feels as though the ball goes past Nygren to Yang, and then Jack Butland's obviously got the vision to see the kind of ball going by Nygren. But I think from a Rangers perspective, same if the shoe was on the other foot, you would be screaming and shouting if it was a goal for Rangers against Celtic. I think the inconsistencies, because Rangers have obviously had the one, I never actually seen the footage, even though I remember the goal, but they're obviously comparing it to the one that Rangers had chopped off up at Dundee. So that, and when stakes are so high, when you're playing against your arch rivals, you naturally...
I think it's hard with the camera angles to see exactly what Butland sees, but I think the telltale sign is if I'm Butland and I don't see the ball on its journey towards the goal for a split second, my reaction would be, ref. I would be like, ref, I couldn't see that there. But the fact he doesn't tells me that he saw it and he didn't see any problem with it. But again, I agree with the terms of it's consistency. You go back to some of the other ones, a referee on a different day changes his decision, and that's where I think the problem's been this full season. Even when we move on to Johnson's one.
Red or no red?
Did that get checked by VAR?
That get checked, aye.
The offside, like it come up like it was checking for
I don't know if it actually come up on the screen.
I'm not sure. One, so nobody's really...
They must have looked at it though. They must have, surely.
Well, they would check it, but it's not like they had a...
No, they didn't go to the on-street. No, he did not. Nick Walsh didn't get taken at the on-field, the side screen or whatever they call it. But no, what are you saying about the red card? We just obviously watched it back again this morning. Red or no red?
We obviously had the chat, and I think as a defender, like you want to go in they type of games, like leave a bit on. So like live, you're thinking great tackle, up on you go. You've kind of put me as a fullback, you're thinking brilliant.
You think great tackle? Did you enjoy a Rangers player getting nailed?
Well, no, I didn't mean that in that perspective. But I'm thinking as a fullback perspective, like you want to leave a little bit on the winger, right? But as the rules are these days, the way he's put his flat foot, the way he's taken the ball, and the way he's went through and he's caught him ankle or above, for me, it has the momentum and the speed that he goes in it, it ticks a lot of boxes. For me, it's a red card. And very lucky to stay on the pitch, I thought.
I think, from my point of view, I think us supporters and ex-players and MD that likes the game doesn't want to see sending offs for that. I think we all agree on that. Yep. Now, we know the game's changed and we need to be careful, because at the time I'm watching, I'm like, smash him. I mean that in the nicest possible way. I'm talking about take the ball and take the man. It's a Celtic Rangers game. I think if we get to the point where we're sat there and Johnson's pulling out tackles like that, we're like, come on, man. Yeah. But if here for entertainment, I want to see Celtic players nail Rangers players and take the ball. I want to see, I don't really want to see Rangers players nail, but I want to see two teams going at it, you know what I mean? So I think what I'm looking at, what a tackle, and then I go, oh no, hope his studs are on the up. His studs are up. Now here's the difference for me from McGrath last week when he steps on Johnson's ankle. I think there's a lot of force, and he's about halfway through his tackle when he catches him, like sort of, he's still like with a lot of power in it. I think Johnson's at the very end and he touches his toe with his studs, and a still picture shows that it's a bad tackle, when I actually think it's a good tackle with a little bit of contact that shouldn't be a sending off.
I still think there's more momentum than that than you described.
Do you think that's green tinted specs for me?
100%.
And by the way, Paul's the same.
I'm with you. I didn't want to see a red card for that. But like as an isolated incident, I think that is.
I said live on commentary, I thought it was a great tackle. My initial thought,
on Rangers TV?
No, I thought it was a good tackle. I would be
great tackle, Tam.
Well, no, I never say great tackle as I was happy with the tackle, but I thought it was a good tackle as in my opinion of it at the time.
Fair play.
It wasn't until, and I think everybody would know that I'm always trying to be honest and respectful. And I'm a bit like Wits. I spent my whole life flying into tackles and trying to lay a marker on, and if we probably had the angles nowadays, when I used to tackle, I'd get sent off every week. Because we all know if you've played, it's really hard with your momentum, and you only have that split decision where you decide where you put your placement of your foot. And obviously if you lift it high and you kind of go over the top of the ball, the natural one is you obviously you're going to endanger an opponent. Yeah. If you keep your foot in the right placement and your studs are obviously going towards the turf, then it's quite hard to then stop your momentum on how hard you tackle. Like how can you tackle soft? You end up getting hurt, don't you? It's the old cliche, if you dip your toe and you end up coming off second best as such. So I thought initially the angle that we had on Rangers TV, I thought it was a good tackle. You can see Mikey Moore's going one way, Alistair Johnson's going the other. The ball then goes back the way. It looks clear that he's obviously got plenty of the ball. It's not until I then seen Mikey Stewart's tweet of the Sky Sports angle that what Wits has just mentioned there, and I'm in an agreement. The rules have changed, and that's why I think it should be a red card, even though I'm contradicting myself, because at the time I thought it wasn't. And it's just because of the slow-mo, and it's crap because the slow-mos probably in every contact can make things look worse. I certainly didn't think it was as bad as Jamie McGrath's tackle on Johnson last week.
No.
Because he doesn't get any of the ball, and I do think it's a bit naughty. And I seen Dave's comments afterwards that he can have no complaints really. And I didn't think Jamie McGrath can. I think he's went to try and give Johnson a bit, like what Witt said, leave a wee bit of a marker, and he's just mistimed it. And it's looked quite naughty, and he's caught Alistair Johnson standing foot. It could have been a sore one. And I think it's a wee bit the same. I think Alistair Johnson's been really aggressive. He's went to win the ball back. He's got plenty of the ball, but he's also tried to leave a wee bit on Mikey Moore. And unfortunately, when you then see the slow-mo, only Alistair Johnson knows whether he wants to keep his foot that way or he wants to put it that way. And he's obviously followed through with the second leg of Mikey Moore, because it's actually his left leg that he catches as he gets through him. So I think when you then see VAR, like what's the point of having VAR, because they'll have the angles. Yeah. And if VAR then sees that, who's sitting in the studio not to say that that's not a red card?
I know.
A red card, sorry.
I just don't. Can you imagine if we start?
Oh, aye, I know, but listen, the game's just
consistency.
It's the rules.
We need to know. We need to know we need to get to a point where there can be tackles, but they can't all be sending offs. Otherwise, you take tackling right out of the game. No, and nobody wants to see that.
It's a big moment, isn't it? For a Rangers perspective, listen, it might not have any different outcome for Rangers in the climax of the season. Then you could argue it might have then went and handed Hearts an opportunity to go over the line, but But then you've got a Hearts perspective, you know what I mean? They would want to see, obviously, Rangers do well yesterday.
Yeah.
So I think it's hard to, like, depending on what side of the city you're obviously supporting. I'd like to think that we're trying to be really fair and neutral. There's no doubt that me and Wits obviously want Rangers to do well. And I'm a tackler, so I didn't want to see players getting sent off. And I thought, as a Hibs fan watching Jamie McGrath's tackle just obviously last week, I thought it was a bit naughty. I think Jamie McGrath's a naughty player. I've been an advocate for saying he's had a brilliant season, a really talented player, but I'm also a wee bit like, I want a wee bit of coming together, I want a wee bit of tackles, but in the letter of the law of the game nowadays, you just cannot do it.
I think if we're looking at the game being non-contact, you're going to, I mean, like, come on, man, let's have a bit. You know, I can clearly see, and I'm thinking, and it's hard because you're obviously wanting Celtic to win, right? That's what you're watching, and I'm wondering if it's a Rangers player, what am I thinking? You know, you're trying to put yourself in that. What? I don't think
there was a bit of contact within, and I thought the first half though there was a few battles and there was a few contacts, was tough tackles, and the ref let it go, and that's kind of what you want to see. But as in that one, it's when you're starting to lift that stud and you're endangering someone.
Yeah,
that's just the rules these days.
I know.
So
I know,
like it's just that fine line, that balance at the.
So we all agree it wasn't a sending off.
By the way, how does he then get sent off later on in the game though?
For a wee bit of the scuffling on the side, that was a lot involved in that one.
But I'm a wee bit, just let them go on with refs. A wee bit, like, Rangers are chasing, do you know what I mean? Alistair Johnston, I thought, had done brilliant to get his body back into Romans. And then they have a wee tumble. I didn't quite see the footage if they've maybe gave each other a wee pull or kept one of them on the ground or what, but it obviously ends up in a coming together. Kieran Tierney obviously runs for 15, 20 yards away for obviously, I'm presuming, to try and settle it and split it up as such. But how does Romans get a yellow card for that scenario and Kieran Tierney get a yellow card but Alistair Johnston doesn't he?
I think there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on for the ref.
Do that again.
I know, it's a fair point. I know.
That's not me wanting Alistair Johnston to get sent off, but he's had that when he gets a yellow card. He's then him and Romans have a guilt. They two insinuated that scenario, but Kieran Tierney gets booked and Alistair Johnston just
Jenkies went on, no, I don't want to send him off, or it's too much of a... I'd rather just book people. At that point, refs just start booking people as if I've done my job, but they don't want to go, you're off.
Well, surely that thought's no went through Nick Walsh's head. I didn't want to send him off. His job is to have the integrity in the game. That, like,
did VAR get involved in that at all?
I don't know if it did. Obviously, because I'm live on the telly, I'm obviously doing Rangers TV, so I don't. Sky Sports will have the lazy ear that will go into the commentators to say, listen, there's an on-field VAR check, and then if you're commentating on the game or whatever, you're obviously boydies in that are sitting in the studio. They'll probably have someone that's got an earpiece saying, "Oh, it's going to VAR." And obviously, sometimes that then doesn't get transpired to us fans or whatever sitting in the stadium. It just gets passed and the game goes on. You didn't even know it's been checked.
Yeah.
But every incident's meant to be getting checked. It's the whole point of them watching the game. I just cannot think for the love of me. And then you have, and I think people know me well enough now. I'm no for once driving like an agenda that Celtic should. I'm just saying for a consistency thing. Hatate then has one late on in the game as well, which was stupidity really for a Celtic perspective, because he could be a huge influence in the last couple of games to help Celtic go over the line. They've also got a cup final coming up, albeit different competition, so he wouldn't be suspended for it. But he leaves one on somebody like late on in the game when he's already been booked. It's like
you're picking the bones out of it now. Let's talk about.
Well, I'm picking the bones out because I think it's a good one for people to listen to, and I think people will want to see what our opinion is on these big decisions. And it's like Celtic, when we then go to tactically and how they played, and you talk about resilience and mentality, and finding a way to win, we're brilliant.
Yeah.
And it passages of the play, some of their play, the goals they scored. Listen, Maeda. Like, we've seen Shermiti win goal of the season, man. It's incredible. I never knew he had that in his locker.
Let's start with the second goal, though. Celtic's second goal. Tavernier's defending's no right, is it? Like, I just think that's what that's been his downfall at Rangers. I know there's been a lot of Tavernier's, utmost respect for him and what he's done at Rangers in terms of goals and assists and what he's been through hard times at Rangers, but do you think that the defender, I mean, you were a fullback?
Well, again, I wasn't a fullback when I was younger, though. I had to learn that side of it, and
what's what
at times I was
centre mid, attacking mid, mate.
You had some positions. What was your favourite?
No, the positions that you think for me, yeah.
What was your favourite position?
I made my name as an attacking fullback.
So. No.
I fullback.
Fullback, right?
Brilliant.
So Tavernier obviously puts a hand up. I know he's clutching at straws a wee bit there, but that's been his.
But it comes to that defensive line sensing that danger again and being in the right position and seeing it. It's because he doesn't really come for a blind side of that. He's like outside of him.
Yeah.
So it's no like an inside striker ran and he's like, oh, it's my centre half dealing with that. He's there. Mm-hmm. So again, it's kind of dropping, seeing the ball, and not allowing somebody in behind you. And whether he looked away, and it can happen in a split second. Mm-hmm. He's then caught behind, tried to get the offside, tried to recover, no managed to get anything on the cross. And then the next bit is obviously Maeda getting in front. So there's a lot there, that little bits that we just have to be switched on in the right moments. It's easily a goal that can be stopped.
They've conceded something like 13 goals in their last, is it, 4 or 5 games, is it?
Would you class that as a reactive moment, and because he doesn't anticipate it well enough to sense the danger quick enough to be in the right position? I think
reactive, 100%.
And it's a bit the same way you talk about thin lines, which comes at the top level, like the then cross for Maeda to get across. If it's just that split second, it's
a wee details, isn't it?
It's the fact that comes for the outside of him. It runs off that side of him. Like, that's my space as a fullback for me to there. Inside, it's up for questioning because you've got to deal with your centre back and stuff. But the fact that it comes from there, I think sometimes you don't want to drop deeper than the defensive line of centre backs, but at times, if you're reading it and you sense the danger, sometimes you have to just detach and deal with the situation yourself. Yeah. And he wasn't in position to do that.
There's a clear run, he's running onto him, and he sort of turns and then wrong way and then sticks his hand up. I think it sums up Rangers in terms of the defensive unit. They're no all aligned. I was surprised Sterling didn't start.
I know, I just feel as though because when he brought Tav on at Tynecastle, I thought he would. We have hindsight, don't we? Yeah, which makes it easy, obviously. So you feel as though you're a wee bit of note as such, and obviously we aren't they, but you're just picking out the bones of like what you see. But I felt that Sterling, when it comes to like when you think when Celtic have their best moments, when they have Rangers kind of penned in and Rangers are suffering a wee bit, I feel as though Sterling's just that wee bit more aggressive in everything he does. Being in the back line, I think he brings a good energy to it. He's a good defender. I
think to have him in the starting 11 in that type of game, and because I know he's done a bit of midfielding as well, just that profile with like being really strong and defensive, win your duels, that type of thing. I think he's one that was missed, I think.
Aye, especially then when Tinecti comes on, and I think when Tinecti comes on at half time, they know get him up against Tavernier, and sure enough for the third goal, twists him. By the way, I'm judging Tavernier here, but I was horrendous at defending 1v1s in the full back area at times, like especially younger in my career. I learned as I got older. Same. But as a midfielder and as a attack, I hated the 1v1 situations, big gangly legs, fucking people getting by me.
I didn't think Rangers do that well enough in the respect to like the mid. It's just going into a tactical bit really, but see when Tinecti comes on, and it's not because like, listen, I certainly wasn't perfect at it, but it was something that I prided myself on, that if Witts ended up against Aidan McGeady in a wide area, if I was playing centrally the pack in midfield, and let's just say Barry or like we obviously predominantly played a 2 in midfield, but no against Celtic, we would have that extra man in midfield, so I'm just going me, Barry and Davo. I think Davo slides over and helps you 100%. Like there's I think it's a normal thing.
Having your back.
Aye, it's like, so I think if Witts ends up in that position where Aidan's such a good player and he wants to get him on the touchline and he knows that he can go both ways, then we both know that Witts is capable of like dealing with 1v1, but there's a security. Witts knows that, right, I can't go really tight because Davo's just inside me.
That's or
you want as a fullback, you just said it there, you want to try and minimise the amount of times you're exposed 1v1 against the wingers, because 9 times out of 10 they're sharper, they're faster, right? So you get a little bit of support and you can then adapt your distances that you can just crowd them out a little bit, right? So
and if there's 2 years there, you can show them the line and then the midfielders got them on the inside. Yeah. I think that's again comes down to leadership that we spoke about. You mentioned somebody there, Stephen Davis. He would have come over because he would have went, I sense the danger there, I'm over. Because I wouldn't want to be in 1v1, so I'll make this 2v1 and double up. Whereas if it's a team of individuals, you might get Raskin going, you know what, I'm alright here, I'll do my job. Raskin wasn't there yesterday, we need to touch on that. But you might get Chikwani going, well, I'm doing my... I'm not saying he is, but I'm saying if you're lacking leadership, you might just go, oh, do you know what, I'm doing my job. On you go, you got on with it there, you do your job. Because he was exposed. But let's talk about Maeda's finish.
Oh.
I mean, he misses 2 1v1s, right? And I know one's offside, maybe 2, but that sums him up. Can't score a 1v1 and scores that.
Well, he does brilliant. He's one that he gets. I don't even know who toe I think it was Yang, wasn't it, that twists away and then toe pokes it through past Fernandes, and he does brilliant to use his body. Brilliant. He tries to open his obviously hip up and find it in Jack's bottom corner, and the behind the goal angle shows that he missed by like a yard or so. The one that's obviously offside that he goes through. I was saying I'm screaming on Rangers TV, like I thought Big Fernandes, he never got any top speed to try and recover, albeit it was offside, and he then obviously doesn't score. But I'm like, by his goal, mate,
it's just like perfectly.
It was like slow motion, wasn't
it? Took ages to go in. So by this point, I'm in sitting watching it, and it was like, it was a nice place we're sitting in and that, and you're thinking there'll be quite people cheering in that. But we found out after the first goal that it was 70% Rangers fans. The place are emptied. So I'm right under the TV, me and my son. So I'm like, now we're fair game. 1-0 Rangers. So we get 3 goes at it. But the third man, I was like with my son. I jumped my boot in front of the TV. But
you
took ages to go in. Nah, we weren't that. But I had my wits. Everybody was behind me, but I just kind of stood up. You carried. I mean, that ball took ages to go in. So you're like that. And then I jumped my boot. I thought at 1-0, you're like, oh no. Going to be one of the days, and then Celtic just fought back. But who are we going to speak about there? I mentioned
Raskin.
What's going on with
him? Your opinion of Raskin? I know you'll obviously when you've been at Ayr, you're working as much, but like see the games that you've watched, like what's your obviously it's obvious that he's a top player, but he's a bit of an enigma, isn't he? Like how he plays and what he is as a profile of player.
I don't know him as a character, but he seems to want to fight, and he's got that connection with the crowd and the fans and the club. So whether he's a leader as in like vocally in the pitch, I don't know. I don't know him that way, but as a player, I think we're better with him in the team. In that midfield three.
Where was he yesterday?
I have no idea.
There's rumours that he's obviously a muscle injury. Danny Rowe just touched on a few of the boys that were out, and Raskin was obviously one of them, but I don't know if that was the case. I obviously got taken off at Tynecastle. I don't know if that was the case as well. Got taken off because he was struggling, and obviously we're not alluded to that. But
see, Raskin for me, see if you look at Shanklin's goal for Hearts, I think it sums Raskin up. So if you ever look at back,
the one at Tynecastle, you mean with his left peg?
Shanklin scores at Tynecastle, left peg during the week. Yeah, cuts the ball back. Raskin follows. I think it's Braga or somebody. Somebody runs into the box, and Raskin follows him from the edge of the box all the way in.
Right, okay.
This is again lack of leadership, right? Follows him all the way in. The cutbacks come back. So instead of just passing them on to Fernandes, he runs in with him. Cut back to where he should be. Shanklin shoots and scores. I think as a number 10, Tomo, as a number 6, natural number 6, you're in that box, you go, this could come back. I can't leave this space occupied. And you would just clear it. I think Raskin just goes, lack of leadership for centre-halves, lack of leadership for him, lack of no being a natural number 6 and holding midfielder.
He's not a 6, eh? I don't know.
He's not. And he runs in with a man. People say, follow your runners. No, you need to pass him on to a centre-half because the danger then becomes the edge of the box or the penalty spot.
First goal was a little bit like that as well. It's like a little bit.
Exactly, nobody's there.
Cut back, but they seem to sink into the 6-yard line, and it's a clear kind of shot. Whereas if you've got your midfielder coming back, and like you're saying, passing on or sensing the danger that they might be coming a cut back, then
that's a big area for Rangers, I think, going forward. I know we're getting away from what we were talking about. We were asking, but the centre half and the 6s are the core of your team, and I would be, if I was Rangers, I'd be looking for a British, Scottish.
Listen, I know.
Core right there in that group, and then build your team around that.
Hard to find,
I know.
I'm looking at like Callum McGregor, who we know he's got the quality to play that pass. We know he can get up onto the edge of the box, and so can the Rangers boys. But I feel as though like Callum's complemented by what's in front of him because they know what Callum is.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like apart from Conor Barron, I think Chukwuani's got the profile to be like a box-to-box 8.
Yeah.
I don't think he's one that's going to sit. He's not a playmaker type, poking and prodding and starting the game and helping you build, etc. I think he's like a big power. I think Raskin's a bit the same. You take the shackles off him, he runs everywhere, plays a bit like I've mentioned it numerous times, plays like he's in the playground. I think Dio has got a wee bit more discipline, but at times he never plays that anchored role. He always plays on one of the 8s normally. And then when you then start to look at some of the other ones, I'm not so sure Rangers have had that disciplined midfielder that just...
Should they go all out for Lewis Ferguson? And another one I'll mention, by the way, I don't know what age he's at now, is Kenny McLean.
I was thinking.
But Kenny's not that either, though. Really, is he? Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't think Kenny. I would say Kenny's like spent his whole career being a like some sort of difference maker in the middle of the pitch. Do you know what I mean? I'm not so sure. Like Kenny McLean's a sense danger track runners type profile of player. I'm not saying he can't do it,
but maybe would then bring the leadership element, Scottish sort of leadership element in there as well.
Listen, I don't know. Somebody will quote me different, but when Steve Davis, listen, I'm not putting Kenny McLean in the same bracket as Steve Davis. Steve's like topsy or tops, but when Steven Gerrard signed Steve Davis, Alan McGregor, Scott Arfield, no doubt there was somebody other there when Stephen was the manager, he created what you've just said there. And they all these boys probably wouldn't have went back to Rangers in the peaks of their career, 3, 4, 5 years earlier. Probably wouldn't have been able to afford them. Like Steve was playing in the Premier League at Southampton. Do you know what I mean? So when they then come back, they brought what you've mentioned there. They brought a spine to the team. So I know that sounds a bit stupid. I'm saying no, Kenny McLean. I would have Kenny McLean. I just don't know if he'd be that player for this Rangers team, if that makes sense. Whereas Steve's went for Steve was naturally more a line forward, really, and then he become that quarterback. And Steve was not a tackler, really, was he? But he was so clever, Pedro Mendes-esque, that he would sense danger, and like what we mentioned about Tav there, he was anticipation. So he would anticipate that pass and he'd go and steal it.
Tried to nail him in an old firm game.
Steve, tops, mate.
I had a 50-50 with him, and I'd already been booked. And it was a 50-50, and you know that way I went, I'm taking the ball and I'm taking him. And I went all out and I skiffed the top of the ball and just nailed him above them.
I bet he just bounced up.
I bounced straight off the park. I was sent off. I was off.
Aye, but I bet he got him and played on it.
Aye, he didn't. I don't think he wasn't injured or anything.
I love playing with him.
Amazing,
when Hutz moved.
Amazing.
I was like just bomb. He'd just tuck in the right side. I'd just run and he would.
What a player.
I remember watching a Rangers game. I never knew Rangers had signed him at the very first time.
Brilliant.
At Tynecastle, and I remember going, "Who's that wee guy? He's unbelievable." I mean, not where a player just sticks out.
Keep it on a phone.
And then I realised,
I was like, in my mind, I'm thinking like, the player that you're trying to prescribe to, like what a Rangers fan I think wants, doesn't he need to be somebody that runs about and tackles and crashes into people?
Almost stays still.
Senses danger, eh? That's what I'm saying. I senses danger, has an understanding when the ball turns over, you're filling gaps, you're putting out fires, you're stealing it, you're protecting your back to, you're maybe tracking that number 10 that does run, you're then maybe sensing danger for the cutbacks, and you're like,
perfect.
That type of profile. I think Rangers, if Rangers had that type of, I think Conor Barron can be that. But at the moment, it's because Rangers are not doing particularly well that you're under more scrutiny, and people are maybe then they're searching for like more a negative than a positive. To
be fair, to give him credit due, he cut one or two at the penalty spot at one point, and I remember the commentators in great position for Barn, and I thought maybe Raskin might not have been there.
I think he's capable of growing into that type of role, Conor. I just think I think he has to then decide that that's what he's going to be. Because I look at Conor Barron being like when he was at Kelty, he was like, he had the capabilities of like being a box to box 8, and because he's so tenacious, he's like, he could jump up a line, then he could recover and get back a line to help the team. But I also do think that he's that coachable, and he's got good understanding that if that is your role, this is why you're in the team. This is when Jan comes inside and he skips away for which you have to get over and stop the ball. And then when Celtic go from one side to the other and they pop into Cal McGregor and they pop it out to the other side, you need to have the capacity to go over and then help the other side of the pitch. Obviously, if you've got two there, that's different because one would slide and one would slide. But if you become the focal point of that 6 on your own with 2 in front of you, I think you have to be flexible enough to slide both sides.
So who do Rangers next season need to keep, in your opinion? Like who's a non-negotiable they need to be there next year?
This can be for Wits because you've asked me this before.
Who would keep? So the likes of...
Who would be in your starting 11 if you could pick out? Who would you keep in the starting 11?
Romans, I think's the one
that he
sticks it 100%.
Jigger's obviously on loan, so Fernandez is a signed player, so I know some of them might.
Would you sell Fernandez while he's hot, or would you keep him again? Do you think he's got another year in him?
Again, it all depends on who you're capable. If you can get in somebody to match it,
play alongside him.
No, but if you can make the money and bring somebody in that's going to,
this is good,
as good or better, then you're doing it. I mean, you need to keep progressing and.
Would you pay the money for Jigger? He's on loan, obviously. I think the fees, don't quote me on it, but I'm sure it's like £7 or £8 million. It's quite a lot of money, but it's probably not a lot of money in the context of what world football is nowadays.
Do you think Jigger's good? Do you think he's good?
I think we need the leader in the back line and a talker. And again, I don't know them personally, so I'm just going off what I see on the pitch. But a real defender that senses that kind of danger, I think we need that kind of profile in there. I think that helps just everyone. It might help the midfielders in front as well.
I spoke to Fergie. Fergie said Balogun was that, which I was surprised at. He said he was a very good talker and organised round about him and was a great boy. Says Fergie says he broke his cheekbone.
Yeah, he played with that mask for a
He said he went up to him and said to him, like, listen, have a holiday with your family and that, get your operation. And he went, no, I'll play. And he went straight for the bus to Ross Hall to get a mask. He says that's when he knew that he was for him.
Tav's obviously.
You've watched him a little bit more than me, but I quite like Diamandi.
Aye, so do I, mate. I just think the Rangers are a wee bit lost with like how their midfield three work. I think when they, for 25 minutes at Tynecastle, I thought the rotations were brilliant and Mikey Moore coming in and creating that extra player.
Yeah.
I thought Hearts really, Derek McKenna said it, like really struggled. I just think, I don't know if it's a specific way how Rangers play. And then I think when the ball turns over, if you're going to have Raskin running through as a 10 and then Diamandi like high and wide and then you isolate Conor Barron in the middle of the pitch when the ball turns over against certain teams, I just think it leaves them a wee bit open. I feel like when we played, and I know it's stupid to compare, but like I always felt, and you tell me if I'm wrong, if you were playing and Steve was coming inside and you were on the outside of him and we were trying to score a goal, I always felt that like Davy Weir, Carlos Queller and Sasha Papac and Marcel didn't really go that far. There was always a security, and I would like to think you felt that as a player. I think Steve would feel that he could be off the cuff and be a wee bit unpredictable in attack, which would then allow you, because you had the structure behind. I feel as though Rangers can be a wee bit unpredictable in attack, but then when the ball turns over, I think they look a wee bit vulnerable.
A wee bit individually, aren't they? Like you're thinking there of, again, back to leadership, using the between these, you'd have that covered without even.
Talking about Sasa there, like Sasa and his role, he was a good distributor of the ball. He stayed behind the ball. Like I could use my strengths and get forward and go and try and affect the final third. So we just had that kind of balance within it.
That's almost like building with a three without even discussing it.
You know
what I mean? Without a coach, that's what that problem nowadays is. A team wouldn't need to be told to do that.
No,
you're building as a three. You were obviously doing it with somebody coming inside you, going wide. You've now got a back three, building with three.
Yeah.
So Tav's obviously out of contract, you're leaving obviously because that statement. Would you be happy to move forward with Stirling as a right back? To be your number one right back, or would you look to try and potentially bring him?
What was he signed as? What was his position?
He's a right back. I played with him at Wigan. Right, so when we signed,
he's played in midfield a couple of times, but probably more. He's
that was the first time at Rangers
a few times.
So that was Rangers the first time. So when he signed at Wigan, if you remember, I went to Wigan the year after Reece James had just been at Wigan. So Reece James took. Daizen Sterling played ahead of Reece James in the youth team.
Right.
Did they?
Yep. So then Wigan took Reece James on loan, or in the 21s or whatever. So Wigan took Reece James on loan. Reece James was a joke, obviously, as we know, played midfield player. Every boy said he was like world class playing for Wigan. Blackburn actually had him, Mulberry had him in his office. Reece James, and said to him,
likes that one more.
I'll just let you know we've got a young right back called Ryan Niambe, and he's a good player, and basically talked Reece James out of signing for Blackburn by saying, but Morgan was only being honest. He was like, we've got a young right back, he's a good player, which he was, but he was to Reece James. And then Reece James goes to Wigan, is unbelievable. Anyway, getting on it, Daizen Sterling then signs the next year, and that's when I go there, because they're thinking, right, with Reece James, Noogie's Daizen Sterling, who was a brilliant, one of the quietest guys I've ever had in a changing room.
So would you be happy to start Daizen Sterling right back?
A good defender.
Right back?
I think he's obviously capable of doing the job there. Defensively, he's going to give you probably a more solid base. But then if Romans is the one that's going to kind of get you attacking, maybe he's the one that sits behind the ball, so you just flip it and go the other way. Tav's always been, affects the final third unbelievable with his deliveries and getting forward. So can you flip that and ask that of Romans? He's not going to get the same numbers as Tav, but does that keep you more secure, like you're saying? They're maybe less exposed with just keeping Sterling underneath the ball. Makes sense.
Did you hear what Lenny said about Sutton's comments?
Thought he was bang on. I said the same last week, didn't I?
What was that?
He's Sutton. I didn't think actually specifically said that he was a pea-heart, did he?
I know what he's.
I think Slaney said that.
Was. He had a bit of a pop.
He had a pop at Tav.
Serial loser, and that he's called him before, hasn't he?
And Lenny said that he thought it was bang out the order.
It's harsh.
You're a right back, but he's been brilliant, hasn't he?
Unbelievable. some of the goals, big moments he's created for the club and fans. You can't.
250 grand, man.
Puts his first foot forward, never injured.
I think he'd be the first to say he's no like. I think if Tav was a brilliant defender, and with his technical ability and how he's influenced games and big moments with the numbers that he's produced, I think like when he was 27, 28, maybe even off the back of Seville, I think it would have been, if he was a brilliant defender, which I think is like the one wee bit that he's, if you tick all his boxes, it's maybe the one wee question mark that you would have. He would have moved, eh?
I wonder
somebody
why,
would have come and spent big money on him.
I wonder why he's never been gave a shot a lot at right wing.
Hand on hearts, even when Barry got the job and Clement was under pressure, and people had asked me before, like, what would you do with Tav? Like, some of my mates are big Rangers fans or whatever. I would have played Tav at the, I don't know what time in the career, like 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago or whatever. I would have played him as a right 8. Mm-hmm. See, when Steven used to have like the flat 3 in his good Rangers team, obviously he probably had played, and Tav was so effective in that Rangers team. When you think of Bonner Barisic, Tav getting in at the back post, the way they played, the 2 inside 10s coming, the width coming for full-backs. See, when they had the flat 3 in midfield, and I'll just use Ryan Jack, Glenn Kamara and Joe Rebo as the 3 names, and obviously that would change with different personnel. I think Tav would have been more than capable, by the way, playing any of the 3 positions, how technically good he is, in tight areas, sees a pass.
Does it take away his crossing ability though?
Well, aye, but then
he crossed that inside position though.
But then what's wrong with when you get the width for your right back checking out because it's no on to come back to Tav,
and that's that's a better position for him.
You know what I mean? But then somebody will probably come up with data to say that there's and you'd probably be brilliant at this. There's probably more goals scored for the balls coming through byline or across the face of the goal than there is for a certain area. Probably. But I think with Tav's delivery, naturally, you know what it's like, if somebody cuts back, I think he's Steve Davis cutting back and popping it back to Whitty, and I'm crossing, and people going that way, and Boydie then sniffing a chance to be on side to then get in between centre-backs. I think it's a brilliant area to cross through. And
I would argue there's a better chance of scoring for here than there is for wide.
Yeah.
No, you're that inside position.
So Tav being a right 8 would allow him to find that position.
Exactly, aye. That's a good shout.
That was just my wee vision when I used to, some people used to criticise Tav, and I was like, at times I would think about throwing him in midfield.
No bad shout. Fergie said he was good in the back 3 as well, so maybe that's having, I always found for being wide, I don't know about you, Wits, but when you played wide fullback, you always had more options if you played inside. So if I played centre back or midfield, I felt like having the ball centrally allowed you to have more options. So maybe that's it.
A distributor of the ball would be brilliant.
And what about your social media post? This Kevin Bridges thing, have you went a bit early there, aye?
Well, what I did see was somebody put it up, obviously, after Hearts and Motherwell drew. And you ever seen the sketch with Kevin Bridges?
No.
He talks about being at an after party and him and his mate are playing the PlayStation, whatever.
An empty?
An empty or something. Somebody's playing the PlayStation. Wakes up the next day and it's like everybody's been on it and the PlayStation's getting played, and like Motherwell have beat Columbia 13-0 or something, and he goes like, but it looks real to him because you know how when FIFA finishes they still play the highlights all night. So he's woke up the next day, he's like, some result for the well. After an after party. So basically there was some sort of video going about, I've posted it, it's him going rattling up to school, that's some result for the well, so I've posted it. But a couple of fans have came and went, you've went a bit early there, Charlie, we've still to beat Rangers today. And I was like, it's all party in it. Wind the Hearts fans up a bit, but was a good result for the well.
It was a good result. It wasn't a great game, was it?
No.
It's funny because I think Hearts have, when I'm watching that game with my lad, who obviously is a big Hibs fan as well, so Jack was obviously not wanting Hearts to do particularly well. I feel that Hearts have now, you know, when you watch a Celtic and Rangers team and you just think that they're going to go and win. Mm-hmm. I think Hearts have got that feeling now.
Yeah.
I know they obviously didn't, and it ended up 1-1 obviously, and they didn't get the outcome that they wanted. But I just had a funny feeling that they were going to go and win.
I agree. I felt exactly the same. It's like that.
I think they've had that all season, and then Shankland Devlin get injured, and then it's like, can they pull through that? And they've managed to maintain that. They come back, but then obviously the injuries. Well,
it surprised me all season. We're responding to bad times and staying in the title race and continue to respond. So that's why we knew Halkett looking like he's injured, Leonard looking like he's injured.
Two shockers, eh?
2 big ones for them, but I still don't go, oh, that's it. that's them finished. I think they'll respond again against Falkirk, I think. So, I mean...
They've got a good squad.
Aye,
They've come in and replaced
Frank-
ones that you think they're going to miss. They've
Yeah.
done that.
Frankie Kane, obviously, Chris McCart, Jamie
Yeah.
McCart, I was going to call him Chris McCart, that's his dad at Celtic Academy, you should obviously know that. And then when you think obviously Cammy Devlin come on as a sub, so he's obviously not too far away. But I think Halkett for me will be the one that, like, however it's going to look in these next two games, I think he'd be the one player that you would want in that back line for Hearts. Like,
I know, although they missed Finlay through the season, who's been brilliant this year, I still think Halkett he's like the glue in that back line, isn't he, really?
Mr. Reliable, and he's so aggressive in his box. He gets tight. When you talk about leadership in the Rangers back line, Halkett looks like he's always barking orders. He's always getting after people. He's
So good at defending a lead.
Aye.
Very rarely give a lead away, and it just comes from being organised and defending that box, sensing danger, all that stuff that we spoke about. And
Aye,
there
exactly.
seem to be
Completely different to Rangers.
have
in that
players
way.
that do it.
Yeah. Do you think...
big decisions. Ben,
do you think it was
think it was a pen.
the Keziridis one we're talking about?
Aye,
He was not happy, is he?
think it was a pen.
Listen, I don't know why the boy stuck his leg across him, but I don't think there's enough. I don't think there's enough in it for a penalty, to be honest. If it's your team, you're going to ask for it, but I don't... It's a silly move for the Motherwell player to stick his leg across. But again, I think he's potentially touched his top of his foot. I don't think it's a penalty. No, I wouldn't want to see penalties start to be given for that.
Pen what's or no
Nah,
pen?
I'm same as Charlie. I think he's just trying to get his body across, planted his foot on his toe or on his boot, and again, you don't want to see penalties for that. It's no pen for me.
Because if you start giving penalties for that, like, every time in the box when somebody steps in somebody's foot, you can just go down and go, we'll go and check it, and it's going to be a penalty. You're starting to open up a can of worms there, and there's always wee bits of contact in the box. I think you need to be careful. I don't think it's a... What do you think?
It probably doesn't get checked if Keziridis doesn't go down. But then the
Exactly.
argument is if he does get stood on, then that's why he goes down. No,
Yeah.
I thought it would have been a bit soft one. I thought it would have been a stroke of luck for Hearts.
Huge result though, isn't it?
Huge result.
I didn't see it coming. I thought Hearts would have been... I thought Dale's team talk would have been beat Motherwell, beat Falkirk,
You've won the league.
and we've won the league. Because we'd need a turnabout at Celtic Park. And I thought that would be them, but it's wide open now.
Who wins now?
I think Hearts will respond and beat Falkirk. So Celtic now need to go to Motherwell, which is a tough game.
I want to say Hearts have drawn against Motherwell 3 times and beat them once at home. So it's Motherwell are a good team, as they've shown this year.
They've
And their home
absolutely
form is
forced
spot on,
Celtic
so
at
it's
far part.
It'll not
It's
be
going to
easy,
be a
but
tough game.
it's a different game now, isn't it?
It is
The climax
different.
of the season, and just like Motherwell they're almost over the line, and they getting doesn't it look? Is it mathematically? It's not officially done now, is it? Hibs have still got. Hibs obviously go to Rangers, and then am I right in saying Hibs then play Motherwell in the last game? Well, because Rangers are at Falkirk and then Hearts are at Celtic. Hearts are at Celtic, aye. So 4 points, aye. So they've still got that to fight for as such. But I think Motherwell, regardless of who they play for, just as professionals in the season that they've had, they'll make it as difficult as they possibly can for Celtic. But I do think that now it's changed a wee bit for Celtic. There's that feeling, there's that. See Callum McGregor afterwards, 2 games to go. Do you know what I mean? Like they can smell it a wee bit. They can smell it a wee bit. The bit for Hearts is I think they will beat Falkirk because their home record's been brilliant. And Falkirk have gave them difficult games, obviously knocking them out the cup, but
Too much for Falkirk, I think.
Tynecastle will be bouncing, mate. I was there last Monday, obviously for the BBC. It was rocking. I think they'll get them over the line, and I actually think a couple of disappointments. It sounds bad that, and I mean it in a good way, that the squad will probably come together even more and have that wee bit more. Not just because there's 2 games to go, but losing Halkett, who I've got no doubt will have a huge admiration and respect for all the squad. So they'll probably want to date for the boys. Leonard's obviously up on loan. They've suffered like real cruel injuries, really. So I think there'll be I think they'll get over the line against Falkirk, and it's all or nothing last game of the season for me.
What
What a game it'd be to watch, yeah.
Who do you fancy for who have you thought about for the league the whole year? What was your thoughts been?
Say going post-split, I thought Rangers were going to go on and just had that momentum going into it. They were a point behind. Like, I had them going through the fixtures, winning a lot of the games. Like, I know obviously Tynecastle away, Celtic Park away, I was thinking they come through the 2 fixtures, they've got a right chance still in the mix.
What's your thoughts about their trip to Spain before the split? Did their trip to Spain before the split? So did Hearts.
It's not been documented that much.
I don't even know, but again, whether we go to Spain or didn't go to Spain, like the game's a game. Like this. People will look into that and have an opinion on it, but
I think the problem is the hindsight off the back of it, which makes it makes you then question it a wee bit.
I agree with Wits. I think you can look into everything.
I
just wanted to hear what your thoughts on it were, because some people will jump on and say that's because they went to Spain with their feet up. They'd have been training in Spain, and it would have been, if anything, it benefits you. I don't think it relaxes you in terms of taking your foot off the
I wouldn't have wanted to go to Spain though.
Would you know?
No, and I think it. Wits might tell me if I'm wrong, but I can't think of us being in that position, going for titles and Walter just up in sticks and taking us to Spain.
At that point of the season, I think mid-season probably.
You
get a wee chance.
We never had winter breaks, did we, when we were really playing, did we? But
I think at that end point of the season,
I wouldn't have wanted to have went away, mate. He's a player.
Would that make you switch off?
No, it wouldn't have made me switch off. I just wouldn't have enjoyed it. I wouldn't have wanted to play golf. I wouldn't have wanted to be in the sun all day. I wouldn't have wanted it, me personally. And if I was a manager, I wouldn't even cross my mind taking the group away.
Would golf in the sun all day kind of made it maybe a slightly took your eye off the ball a wee bit?
Nah, I just wouldn't have wanted it, me personally. Listen, all the other boys might have thought it was a great idea, but me personally, I wouldn't have wanted it. And I played golf with Wits and through my career. It wasn't like I was a non-golfer. I'm a non-golfer now as such, but I just would have wanted to be in my own bed. I would have wanted to have my family around me. I would have wanted to have my feel-good bits. I wouldn't have wanted to sleep with me and Wits used to room together. Whether that was going to Germany for pre-season, which was like it was tough.
What was he like as a roommate?
But mate, he's the best roommate ever. I maybe wasn't.
Just
sleeps me.
Just
sleeps.
We're simple guys, mate.
He?
No, but he just as soon as he hits a pilly, mate, doesn't snore. He's quiet. But a lot of people forget that me and Wits played. We played grassroots since we were 12, mate.
Right.
At Hurchie as kids. And then obviously when Wits you had a chance to go to Man City, didn't you? 15, 16, I went to Coventry.
I got offered the deal that got taken away like last minute, so when I was 16 I was meant to go down south then.
And then Wits ended up at Hibs obviously, and then when I then left Coventry I ended up back at Hibs, and obviously when I signed for Rangers in January, Wits signed that summer, so right up until Middlesbrough 26, 27 when I left. We played together since we were pretty much 12, apart from a wee 5 or 6 month stint.
That was good when you get a roommate like that, wasn't it, that you were comfortable with, but how bad was it when you turned up and you get a roommate that you never knew?
Bro, mate.
It was so bad, wasn't it?
So awkward.
Like, how awkward is that?
No, but I hated the most when I first signed for a new club is getting on the team bus. No knowing where he sit.
No, I remember I sat in a seat one time and it was Stan Vargas' seat, and somebody's went,
you can't sit there.
He's went like straight pan, he's went, get up. Mate, and I just went like, I thought he was joking. He went, get up, and I was like, he's like, move, and I just got on with it, mate. I felt a bit that side.
Yeah, I was the same. I had that at Hibs. When I don't know if Wits had maybe been in the squad as well, but I was as a young player. I walked on the bus and it was like Nick Colgan mixed with Patalainen and that, and I don't even think I got a strip. I think I was maybe one of the young boys that had been given the opportunity to go with the team. It was before we had all broke in, I think. Maybe Deeks and Gaz were maybe there. And I remember sitting near the front and Nick Colgan come on and went, can I sit there? So then you get up.
Have a look at that.
So then I moved to like the next bit that looks free.
Sit in the driver's knee.
and then Mixu Patalainen comes in and goes, can I fucking sit there? And I was like, and then you get to that wee bit where you get tested a wee bit and you're like, well, where can I fucking sit?
Aye.
Horrible, eh?
Aye.
Horrible.
You feel that size. But just for the viewers, by the way, don't understand a team bus. Everybody has their own seats and have their own routine, don't they? Like, everybody's like set in their ways, how they go to a game. It's mad how everybody just filters, creatures of habit, isn't it?
Mad.
Just filter into their seat.
But then there's the first time you get on it of the season, you're thinking, let's get in there. This is my seat for the season.
Everybody knows this is my
season.
seat.
You're all there early trying to get on.
But we had a card school at Rangers, so we used to all sit at the back tables, didn't we? But then your Fergies and that sat at the front, so it was like, it felt a wee bit more natural, I think, when I was at Rangers. But no, when I first signed, I remember going back to Hibs after I left Middlesbrough when I come up the road, and I went on the Hibs bus, and I remember walking on, and Sparky Lee Griffiths was at Hibs at the time. He used to sit at the back of the bus with his Monster Munch and his sweeties and all that, and I kind of went on and trying to be humble and respectful as hopefully you are. I'm saying to Paul, like, where can I sit? you can sit where you want. And I'm like, no. Who sits here? It doesn't matter. And then you go to Louis Wick and I said, sit where you want. It's amazing how it changes, eh? Like you go for like being the young lad and mix with Pat Lyons telling you to beat it to then coming back up with like a wee bit more experience and a slightly different profile, and the boys are like obviously respectful. You're like, oh, sit where you want.
My Uncle John, right, most confident guy in the world. Back in the day, my dad took him down to Barrow, so he went for like junior here or something, Campsie Black watched on trial at Barrow. That was a big thing, Barrow and Furness back in the day. So my dad says he went down, and my Uncle John, most confident guy in the world, man, you'd kill for this confidence. Walked into the change room, somebody went, John, started hanging his stuff. I went, that's Barry's peg, that's Barry the captain's peg. And he turned round, felt the phone change room, and went, you tell Barry John's down for the Blackburn. Just started hanging his stuff up. My dad says he ran out to train and the guy's got the clipboard. The guy had the clipboard and went like that. John ran right up with the first team. He went, no, John, you're behind the goals with the reserves today. And he went, what? Your first session with the reserves. He went, no, that's a mix up in the paperwork. I'm with the first team. My dad said like big fat arse shots 2 wee for him. Fucking brilliant, man. I heard that when I was younger. I think I'd love that confidence, but
brilliant.
The moments were mad and football, weren't they? Like knowing your place, walking on the bus as a first team, as like a young first team player. I wanted to be last on, so you knew there was spare seats. So if you were first on, you sat in somebody's seat. It was nothing worse.
I hated it, mate. When you're young, I still didn't like it when I was older.
Nightmare.
So can the Jambo still win it?
Well, they're a point ahead, so it's theirs again.
Still theirs?
One hand on it.
Still,
Well, of course, they're a point ahead. So
is it half a hand now?
So they'll beat Falkirk. No, they've still got a hand on it. They beat Falkirk, right? If you don't offer them at the start of the season, beat Falkirk.
That's not what I asked you. Right?
And then you're going into the last game of the season with a minimum a point lead. You just need a draw at Celtic Park. They've got to fancy at Hearts. Still. Even with a couple of injuries. What do you think, What's?
I think if it goes to the last game, which I believe both teams will go and win their second last game with the fixtures they've got, I think if Celtic's at home needing to win over 90 minutes, I believe they beat Hearts, who will win that in 90 minutes. So I would say Celtic are favourites.
What do you think?
No, I think I thought the one thing that Hearts had to their advantage if they got over the line was the goal difference part. And I thought it would be hard if it did go to the last game of the season, 3 points in front, and Celtic had to beat them by 5 or 6. I would say it was done, really. I just couldn't see how, like, statistically, Celtic they've not battered loads and loads of teams this year. I know they're capable on their day, but I think you go back to you obviously know better than me, but like a Dundee United game under Martin O'Neill, 4-0 at Celtic Park, they've not had loads of day games, have they? They have had quite a lot of tight games and they've either found ways to win, hence the reason why they're still in it. But I feel that Saturday night against Motherwell has just changed the narrative and the momentum in Celtic's favour.
I just wonder if Hearts, with the record against Celtic and Rangers this year, going into that last game as favourites.
Listen, I have huge belief, and rightly so, innit?
They've won there, but obviously different manager, different circumstances.
Be a different game, mate. Celtic Park will be
We spoke about the injuries they've got as well. They're going to come under a lot of pressure. The intensity of that game will be electric.
What a week! What a final week to the season, man.
Are you still going to Gorgie?
I'm going. I got a video for a guy showing me outside the.
And Witch should come as well as part
Castle Arms.
Me and Witch will be your security. Know that we've got a fight in between us right enough.
But here's one for you, right? You as Hearts or whatever team you're in, would you rather have an away game needing a point or a home game needing a win to obviously win the title?
I like it.
Oh, a home game. Well, win.
So that's what I mean. So that's you putting Celtic in favour of that fixture.
I'd hate a game to have to just draw it.
Oh, it's the worst.
Would Hearts
going
into that scenario at home, Celtic needing to draw, Hearts needing to win? Who wins it at Tynecastle?
Listen, Hearts have shown no reason to doubt them this year. Hearts are favourites. The Hearts are favourites, I'm telling you.
What's the bookies saying, Dave? What Celtic must be odds on favourites.
Tell you what, Tom was talking about the bookies. Good point, right? TalkSport Bet are doing. You quote the breakdown and you put £10, you get £40 in free bets, right? So this would be my bet for this weekend, right? For this coming week, I would go for 4 draws. With so much on it now at the end of the season, I think the games will be tight. Now I think if you go Celtic draw, you go Hearts draw, you go Rangers draw, and you go Kilmarnock draw. Kilmarnock and Dundee, I think it is draw in it, Dave. You go there 4 draws, just for value for money. Like, no, if you want to put a wee fiver or tenner, I like to bet like that. You're 200 odd to 1. 280 to 1. So for a fiver, tenner, 280 back for your tenner, 290. Wee bit of interest. Without
Much chance of pigs flying. I'm not coming up.
but it's an interest, isn't it? An interest, come on.
I actually had to look at mine again because Dave always puts us under pressure, but I think Dundee United will win. I think Hearts will win. I think Celtic will win. And I think because Rangers and Hibs have got slightly less to play for, I can feel Ibrox being quite a difficult place to play on Wednesday night for everybody involved, really. They'll still go 100% because that's what they fans do, but I think it'll be a tough environment. I think Hibs will go and play with a bit of freedom, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's a draw.
A draw for that. What odds is that?
16 to 1.
There you go, mate. A wee bit.
16 to 1.
He's the man for the bets, mate. He's the man, likes the golf bets, likes the horses. We used to own the horses, being Wits and Scotty. Hopeless they were. Cost us half our pension, mate.
There's it, mate. Get on Sky, TalkSport bet.
TalkSport bet, mate.
It's the one, mate. Quote the breakdown, and you get £10, you get 40 quid free bet.
Who wins what? Celtic or Hearts, who wins the title?
Celtic.
Both.
No, I like to say that, but
Not even.
it's the two worst teams that could be out there for me, to be honest. But,
I know. We cannot win in this scenario.
What do you mean?
Well, Hibbies and
I know why you use that.
That's what I mean. All my family jambos, they can't, like, they're desperate, obviously, for them to get over the line. Like, all the group chats for the 5-a-sides that we play and that, it's like just banter after during every game. Like, I go into it, it's like over 100 messages in it, so.
her family's the same. All season ticket holders at Tynecastle. Callie's her brother's mad Jambo. Fair-in-law, season ticket holder. Pays his money, doesn't even go.
How do you think they're feeling now?
Aye, they're nervous, they're nervous, They're nervous. But I've got loads of Jambos at the academy, and it's great. It's been great banter. I actually seen, when I was at the back of the beat field, I seen quite a few of the kids that are at the academy when they were leaving, obviously.
Aye.
They're like waving up and that. Obviously they were in flamboyant mood.
It's been
I can't pass.
It's been an amazing season for the banter back and forth. I've loved it. That voice noting that for that fan last week. Although Shatty celebrating when he did it.
I have to
But
say
what
though,
a-
I walked through the Wheatfield, mate, last week, and the Hearts fans have always been decent with me, to be fair. You get the odd one or whatever, I get that, but the majority have been good, for considering I played for Hibs and obviously played for Rangers. But see the amount of people that mentioned the breakdown, mate, when I was walking through, saying, Charlie better be coming here, Kev, and join the breakdown, and I'm like, so it's,
A guy sent us a video outside the Tynecastle Arms. He said, "You coming here for a beer?" Nice video. I must say, mate, I get a laugh in
That's what it's all
I love
about.
it.
That's what it's all about.
Right, we done?
Oh, good, thanks.
What a man, eh?
Cheers, Wits, mate. I appreciate it. What a hero.
What
You ever
a-
done any podcast stuff or anything?
No, just
really?
little bits of this, couple.
You
but
get him on
nothing.
again after he's either suicidal at St
Albion.
Stirling Albion, or he's flying high at the
See,
top
when you
of the
wake up at 2 in the morning stressed, right? Don't phone me.
He's not picking up the phone at you, mate.
I know that you would anyway for advice. Phone Tom. Cheers, mate. Been a pleasure.
Thanks for having me, thank you.
Thanks for joining us on the breakdown. Don't forget to like and subscribe.